Gentlemen.
All right, brother. Love you. Make it a great day.
Bring it to
That was smooth. Hey, that music can only mean one thing. It's Bridging Civil Tension here on 21.6 The Net. Bridging Civil Tension, the show that's all about, well, tension. How can we be civil through this tension? And we believe that building a bridge is much better than blowing a bridge up. Why? Because you might just need to cross that bridge at some point in your life. This is Phil Wallace, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who is entrepreneur, author, recruiter, coach, mentor. What I don't even know what else. Oh, I'm sorry. Dad, absolutely dad.
Elijah. Much love.
And
much
victim.
Elijah. and victim.
Gotta
add
that
title
gotta
to
get
it.
the victim in there. And of course, welcome to Hey Gary. How are you? Long time since we've seen or chatted with you. Yeah, no, as long as it was your internet, I don't feel bad. Got cut off, but we were storming here, so it could have been ours too, buddy. So absolutely good stuff today. We're going to be, and of course, you're going to see that today's show brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Gold Shield Services, www.goldshieldtoday.com, 847-865-HVAC. Keep in mind, too, heating, cooling, electric generators, indoor air quality, smart homes, and now these guys cover your house top to bottom, in to out, electronically, whatever.
Great
Absolutely
people.
fantastic, guys. And thank you. Welcome in today.
Great people at Gold Shield. Derek,
Listen for those overtones, but that's not a singing group.
Nah,
Undertones. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I blew it.
It's okay.
Let's start over.
Take two.
So we are talking about, if you are not sports fans, Draymond Green,
right,
professional athlete in the NBA, National Basketball Association here in the Americas.
America.
By the way, Brittany Griner's still not home. Anyway.
They're saying that she was wrongfully attained.
You think? Anyway. Anywho.
Imagine the surprised look on my face.
Anywho. Draymond Green, Michigan State Spartan. Now is playing for the Golden State Warriors. Has had a great career. They're still playing. They're in the playoffs. Draymond Green is a guy who also has a podcast. So he's very entertaining. But he is outspoken.
Mm-hmm.
What people would say is outspoken. He doesn't toe the company line per se. And when I say that is check to make sure everything that I say is politically correct and in line.
There's no HR department with Draymond Green.
Right?
I'm just going to tell you how he feels.
And a lot of sports and analysis people, sports broadcasters, right, and whatnot, have taken issue with the rawness of what quote unquote the rawness. I don't know if it's rawness, but what they're considering very, very sharp. Right.
But there's also a lot of announcers who love it, who love the because they know that that's that product and that's where you're coming here for. Yeah. Is that you're not going to hear Charles Barkley tell you this is the role model way of doing things, or a quiet Kevin Garnett, or like a Gary Payton. That's not. Yeah. That's not where you're going to get here.
Not what you're going to get.
So you're tuning into this station for this.
Yeah.
If you want the other stuff, there's ESPN Radio. There's, the other shows that they do. But if you're listening to Draymond Green's podcast, it's because you want to hear the realness and his thoughts on this.
Correct.
And the fact that he has millions of listeners who listen to his podcast.
Much like here, 21.6 The Net.
We do. Well, we appreciate every last one of
Nate, how are you, man?
Nate, you are appreciated specifically, brother.
That's right.
But He's got a million people who continue to listen to his podcast because they love the authenticity of his delivery. And now he's being told, shut up and focus on basketball.
Yeah. And JJ Redick is an ex-NBA player, played at the University of Duke.
Probably one of the
Duke
best
University. What is it? I don't know. Duke.
Best collegiate careers
ever. Stroke. Kid could stroke. Right?
Assassin.
And went on to play several years in the NBA. And now he's doing some sports commentary as well.
Right.
And he was on the Ocho, right? ESPN. Right. And there was an, I don't even
shout
know.
out to Cinco de Mayo.
That's right. I don't even know who the guy was he was talking to.
I've never even seen him before.
Pasty white guy. He was very pasty.
You said it.
Yeah, very pasty. I can, right?
It was a cheese stick with glasses.
It really it was something else, right?
String cheese.
Yeah, string cheese really is a good way to put it. And what did the guy say?
He was basically, like I said, he was telling Draymond to just shut up and focus on basketball, to not get, no one's here for your political stance or to hear
it's
how
not
you feel
your
about
job, right?
It's not your job,
yes.
right?
Yeah, it's not your job to tell us this, that.
And then he went on to say that people who watched Wilt Chamberlain, who watched Pistol Pete, who watched the old Jerry West, the older age, the older age of basketball, don't appreciate.
They've been fans of the NBA for 60 years.
For 6 years,
they don't appreciate.
They're not here to hear Draymond Green tell us his thoughts about the presidency or the government or anything like that. It's not your job to do that. Which I find very interesting because one of the debatably, I know that you're going to debate me on this, greatest players ever, got a lot of flack because he never spoke up.
Kobe?
Michael.
Oh.
If you watch Michael's career, he never really was outspoken until he got like multi-billionaire.
And still not too much.
Still not too like he'll donate to a cause and shut up.
He's a chess player.
Brilliant
chess player.
He's a check player. He will send a check and he will receive a check.
Not checkers, not chess. It's a check.
It's a check. And he'll receive it. And one of the biggest things that people give him a lot of flack on is like, bro, we never hear you speak up on this. We never really hear.
That's just, I don't know. Our good friends over at Zoller Pump Company gave us the hat for, and then we got Uncle Pete in the morning rocking it out.
That's a nice fit.
Right, as I said.
We got to get you some of the green J's.
I got to get some,
Yeah. I got you, though. I got you.
So.
And JJ Redick went on to say, listen, I appreciate that they're still watching. But I don't really care what the people who watch Jerry West think.
Right.
Like, there's a whole world of people who clearly think that what he has to say is of importance.
Right.
Who want to see a person outspoken against things that are injustice or things that are going on in the government or how he feels. It's
right.
Draymond's podcast.
Right.
And it's not your position to tell him it's not his job to do so.
And that's the truth, right? And here's the real deal. I don't watch the NBA because it's a crap product. I don't care what they're saying or not saying. Right?
Right.
And when I say it's a crap product, I grew up watching the 80s. And if you went into the lane, someone was going to break your neck. And that was not flagrant. That was just part of the game. And now everybody goes and stands around you got 7'5" guys sitting around the 3-point line. Nobody wants to go in and bang.
Nobody wants to go in the paint.
I mean, put Shaq in the NBA today in his prime. Oh my God, the guy would average 50 points.
Easily.
Nobody can play defense.
Embiid. Maybe.
Embiid, maybe. Yeah. Right.
Other than that, it's curtains for the rest of the league. It's curtains.
Right? Bring a rookie Shaq in today. Oh, Atlanta.
Orlando Magic Shaq.
Anyway. And what JJ said is, I don't like the undertones. What did he mean by that?
Well, he said you talk about players like that, and the people at Fox News talk about people like that. And he said it's what you're saying, and it's your undertone. And it's the undertone that many people feel is that they don't want educated black athletes or black athletes to have a voice. And shut up and dribble is just disrespectful. Why would I not be allowed to speak on something that a person has experienced, right? It's almost like because LeBron James is LeBron James, that he never went through a phase of having the black experience.
Mm-hmm.
Or has friends that go through the black. So now he's not allowed to speak on it because he makes money. He's supposed to just turn his back to things that he knows are happening.
Yes. But let's take a look at the undertones. Let's walk back in history a little bit here. Okay. The league itself has created the undertones. Okay. And we won't go into the contracts that we have in the past, but the league itself has created the undertones. And let's walk back to a certain Allen Iverson. Okay. Well, let's walk back here. Now, you remember what they did.
Dress code.
Yes.
Dress code.
Yes. Oh, we can't have you multimillionaires coming in sweatpants and looking like thugs. This is what the league said.
Right.
There will now be a dress code. You have to show up in a
suit.
You have to represent us this way.
How we want to be.
Isn't that interesting? Right? So the undertone becomes, it has been lived out through this employer.
Right.
Okay. And now the people who are watching Jerry West, Bob Cousy, Pistol Pete, Wilt Chamberlain now are in their 70s. Okay, great. You've been watching for 60 plus years.
Right.
Good. Hallelujah. Right?
Right.
Well, let's go back to Bob Cousy. Let's go back to Wilt Chamberlain. Let's go back to Bill Russell, who, when they were playing
Lord of the Rings,
when they were playing, had to go in through the kitchen door of a stadium. They couldn't go through the main entrance.
They don't want to talk about that, though.
You were okay with that.
Perfectly fine. That was a good representation of the league. We'll go here. We'll meet you on the other side.
We'll meet you on the other side. Thank you for the revenue. Right? So now you have the people who didn't mind people having to go through the back door.
Right.
But had a wholesome image of this league.
Good perspective.
Right? Saying, you know what? He's got to shut up. He's got to get back to go through the kitchen.
Right. But they don't want to have that conversation.
No.
Right? Like, I don't understand. They watched Kareem and what he had to go through going into arenas.
Yeah. People throwing stuff at him.
Right.
Not only was he 7'2" or whatever, oddly sticks out.
Oddly.
Whether you white, black, green, whatever, that brother's going to be noticed.
The blue monster from Space Jam.
And if we were going to talk about the greatest, thank you, Kareem. Anywho, right? So here's the deal: is now Draymond, brilliant. Okay, they say the same thing about LeBron. Now listen, I'm a Lakers fan. I bleed purple and gold. I just want you to know that. But this team this year was horrible. Sucked. Terrible.
La basura. The Spanish would say trash.
And I knew it when they were putting it together. I'm like, hey, this 2005 All-Star team is not going to win.
Yeah.
And they did, right? Man. And that hurts me as a Laker fan. But a lot of people give LeBron a hard time, right? And I look at LeBron in a different light, and I go, this man is brilliant. Y'all don't like him because it wasn't his main focus. He makes more money outside of the NBA.
By far.
This guy creates schools for children. We don't want to talk about that.
I don't like it.
We're going to just talk about how he isn't as good as Michael, and we're going to hate on him. Oh, he owns production companies. You ever watch this little show called The Wall? It's a game show where balls drop down like Plinko. He's the executive producer of that show. This guy does so much. He gives so much back.
So many scholarships.
But we don't want to hear what his opinion is on I Can't Breathe. We don't want to hear. He shouldn't even bring that up. This is terrible. They're athletes. They shouldn't be doing anything. Oh, we don't want to hear his position on Take a Knee. Right? Which, by the way, I think the Raiders are going to give Colin a chance. That's what I've been reading.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
So, question on that.
Yeah.
Because me and you have heard a lot of times where people will say, well, like those NBA players, they make all their money, or the NFL players, they make all their money, and they don't do any good for their communities. We're sitting here saying how it's openly known that LeBron James does a lot of things for his community. Mm-hmm. He's one of many athletes who do so. Mm-hmm. But we will never highlight The endless list of things off the court.
Right.
I love LeBron James. Off the court, I love LeBron James. Things that he's doing for the community, things he's doing to help people, things that Shaq used to do. Shaq a Claus, where he would just buy out stores for Christmas
bringing
gifts.
Dump trucks of snow from the mountains,
so the kids can experience snow and have gifts. Right, this dude bought weather for kids to have a good experience. How Shaq is constantly being seen as like going into stores and he'll see a mom looking at stuff and he'll tell your kids to grab whatever toys they want to. He's just casually walking through Walmart. Yeah, put it on mine. I got it here. Boom. Buying wedding rings for people. Like stuff all the time.
Shaq does that now. Anytime he goes into Walmart, right?
Yeah, he'll be in a Walmart, and if he sees you as a single mom with a kid, hey, tell him to grab whatever he wants. PlayStation? Yep, get the PlayStation 2.
Bicycles, whatever.
Bicycles, come on. And they do that, and it never gets highlighted. Never. So we don't want to talk about that, but we can't talk about their opinions.
So Nate says, hey, I'm fine with him talking about things he has an issue with, but how he words things on Twitter doesn't always sound good, in my opinion. LeBron. All right.
So, go ahead.
What do you mean how he words things doesn't sound good, in your opinion? You're reading it. It's your own voice you're hearing.
Please clarify.
First of all, you've just spoken volumes if you're still on Twitter. Anyway.
Right.
I'm just saying. Thank God.
So the thing I struggle with was talking about creeping through the back door to Chris Farley, Martin Tanley, Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
The thing I struggle with when I hear and it's all love, Nate, sincerely.
That's right.
But we have more sensitivity and higher level of verbal expectation from NBA players than we will for people in the White House. And I'm told when something's said from the White House, I should just let this person say it, or it's taken out of context, or it's not that big of a deal.
All right. So what Nate's saying that he didn't, the way it came across on Twitter, was when he, this is LeBron.
Right. LeBron.
Right? Like when he said, you're next to the cop.
Right.
Okay. And you took issue with that.
Right.
Why? Right. Because he shouldn't say it, or what?
Right.
Nate says Shaq walked into a jewelry store, noticed a guy looking at wedding rings. He walked up to him and got him the best. Yeah. And thanks, Shaq, because you just ruined that man's entire life. Because from now on, his old lady thinks, "Damn, look what he got me! Look what he got me!"
What you got was a huge rock. What my bank account says is we have a ring pop relationship.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You shining, but sweetie, it's gonna taste a little different when reality is. Baby.
That poor guy, he could be married for 70 years. Ain't never gonna live up to that.
Look, it's weighing down our side of the air mattress, baby. Put your hand over here so the weight balances out.
Right. She had to sleep on the left side.
Yeah, man.
That's right. Oh Lord. Jessica, good morning. All right. Because negative info causes a surge in activity in a critical information processing area of the brain, our behaviors and attitudes tend to be shaped more powerfully by bad news, experiences, and information. That is money.
Yeah. And that part is not even debatable. But what I'm saying is why is it that we'll say there's no good athletes doing good? We'll openly discuss there's a lot of athletes doing good. And we will never highlight athletes doing good because we want to keep the conversation that athletes don't do anything for their communities.
Yeah.
Even though we know that's a lie.
Right.
So as long as we don't ever highlight the good that they do, we can continue to paint them as bad people.
Right. And let's pull apart this, what you said. Absolutely. In the 80s. And if I say the 80s, who is the biggest bastard of the 80s? Who comes to mind in the NBA?
I don't know the 80s.
80s, early 90s.
Something like Kurt Rambis and those dudes. As
All
far
right.
as
Bill Laimbeer.
Oh yeah, from
Pistons, the bad boys.
Yeah, him and Kurt Rambis put people in. Robert Parrish would put you on your spine,
twist you up,
say horrible
clothesline
stuff,
you,
elbow to the
step
throat,
on your hands, whatever.
Didn't care.
Yeah. So, Bill Laimbeer this painted as a bad boy. Okay, played for the University of Notre Dame.
Okay,
in college. Bill Lambier's great grandfather was a multimillionaire. His dad, multimillionaire, went to the University of Notre Dame to play basketball. Didn't get a scholarship because they're multimillionaires, right? Still played. Went on to the NBA, but you never heard the NBA talk about his background of being from a wealthy family. Right? And Bill, thanks for listening. I appreciate you probably this morning.
Always.
But he played the villain. He was a hard worker. He didn't take any crap, but he played the villain. But if we would have said that, if we really would have put out there, this guy comes from, money,
right,
then it would have been, wait a second, these rich guys are evil. Why?
What evil rich people?
You're right, Jess. They had to play that part for the NBA, and they called them the Bad Boys. From Detroit City, right, Motor City. Now, that's what we know, and these guys all did a lot of good stuff. They were just a good team. Yeah. John Sally has done wonderful things.
Joe
Dumars has done incredible things. Isaiah still in the city of Chicago does so much, right? So yes, that is a narrative that, hey, that's an undertone, right? That's what we're talking about. It doesn't just happen in sports. It happens everywhere.
Right.
It's the undertones. And we've talked about it to nauseum on this show.
What type of picture are you painting about that group?
Yeah.
All the time. And it's frustrating and it's tiring. It's these soft big babies are overpaid, blah blah blah. Okay, so they're soft big babies. Now he's too aggressive when he's typing on Twitter. Oh, he was soft. He was a big baby.
Right.
So he's a thug that's soft, that's too rough. That helps people, but doesn't do any good in his community.
Sybil.
That makes sense.
That
makes sense.
This guy's mixed up more than a smoothie in a blender. Listen, the interesting thing is, as we talk about the undertones, here's what I'll question our listeners. What are your undertones?
Right.
We all got them.
That's what we were talking about with Ketanji Brown, right? The reason why they asked her the question, it wasn't the question is the undertone, what you're trying to do, what you're actually trying to get at. You're looking for a reason because you don't like this intelligent individual. So you're trying to find a reason why she's unqualified, even though she's overly qualified for the position. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the undertone. It's what you're saying without saying it. That everyone else knows what you're trying to say.
Right.
And what JJ Redick was like, just either be real about it or stop.
And listen, he could have, if you go and Google it, JJ Redick, he's like, he being on a show like that, right? He could have been like, you know what, you're right. You're absolutely right. We absolutely love the NBA fans who've been with us for 60 years. That's what makes the NBA great is we got followers for 60 years. No. He cut it out. He goes, I don't care about them. Thank you for being a fan of the NBA. Cool. I don't care about them. Period.
Right.
And at first you're kind of thrown like, oh, dang. Oh, should he have said? And that's what went through my mind. I was like, should he have said that?
Right.
Yeah, he can. That's his opinion. Let him have it. He didn't.
Right. I love JJ for getting passionate about that, because the thing about JJ that I love that he gets a chance to play is JJ doesn't have any problems. JJ isn't a person who's constantly in conflict or constantly in the law or anything like that. So people who watch JJ at Duke like Duke JJ Redick, the good guy.
Yeah.
And the good guy just told y'all to shut up talking to people like that. Yep. To stop with the negativity, to stop with the undertones. The good guy that you guys have vouched for since 2000 just said it's no longer cool.
Yeah. So Nate says, I just didn't like how he threatened a cop on social media. Kids look up to LeBron, and for him to just openly talk like that blew my mind. I also didn't like him in Space Jam 2. It was not a good movie.
Let's unpack that, though. Because I felt that he meant like the cop is going to get his as far as through the legal system. But I could see how it'd be taken, that way. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for seeing it that way. But at the same time, did you have that same sentiment when a president said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts? Right? Because I feel in that situation, the leader of the country saying when the looting starts, the shooting starts, which he's quoting a white supremacist person who was in presidency as well. Everyone watered down the potential threat in that quote. When the looting starts, the shooting starts, where he's talking about things in the 60s when people thought there was going to be a riot. So he was telling people to arm yourself and shoot black people. So when our president quotes that same quote, and people are like, you are reading too much into it, it's a coincidence that he quoted word for word a white supremacist in the situation. And then you have people around their buildings on top of the roofs with guns or protecting the
well.
You had it. It was in Crystal Lake too.
Well,
hold on real quick. Yeah. So that's where I don't understand if we don't like threats because people look up to, why don't we have the same problem when it's presidency? We only have a problem when it's athletes. Let's keep the consistency.
We never have it. But here's what I want to say. You don't have to like that he said that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't follow him. I'm not even on Twitter. I got a Twitter, but I ain't never on Twitter because you're like, why do I just want to read somebody's 6 sentences or a sentence and a half or whatever?
Right.
I don't get it. I like Instagram because I can look at pictures and go, oh, pictures.
Pop out books.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. Right. But here's the deal. I say shit that I regret and that people don't like. I am in a few weeks, on the 13th of June, it'll be 30 years that I've been married to Alice. And that's awesome.
Which date?
The 13th of June. Now, listen, she works with autistic children.
Right.
And I grew up in the 80s. And I'm talking to my wife, and I know where she stands. And what comes out of my mouth is the retard word.
Right.
And it pissed my wife off. I'm like, well, that's what they are. Retard means slow.
Right.
But that's not the connotation.
Right.
Right? Now, I will be honest. At that time, I started tap dancing. Hey, right? I'm backpedaling. I'm tap dancing. I'm doing everything I can because I was like,
right.
Right? Now, if I put that out on Twitter, she's gonna kill me. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, you are not going to like that. And that's okay. People say things that I don't have to like.
Right.
And I have one of two things I can say. Dude, I didn't like Alice. You stepped over the line.
Right.
This conversation is done. I was like, damn. Right?
Thanks. I like Alice. What up, Alice? How are you?
And I was like, even with my tap dancing.
Yeah.
And trying to get around.
It's a lie we don't cross, right? Bro.
And that's what she said. You've irritated me. Yeah. I'm going to snap on you. This conversation.
She said, you say something else, I'm going to put my hands on you.
That's right. Right? Now.
You got Kevin Harted by Alice. That right? Made my whole week.
Now listen. That's the same thing. He can put that out there on Twitter. I cannot like it.
Right.
But it doesn't take away who he is. Good people say stupid shit because we're human. Right? It just happens.
Right.
Now the other thing is, again, I'm not on Twitter. I don't get the draw to Twitter. I don't understand. Anyway, Twitter and Elon, thank you for listening in.
Right.
If you want to give 21.6 to net, I don't 1 billion. You don't even have to do 48 billion or whatever. I'll give you a break on this.
Kent Jones.
I'll give you a break on this. But anyway, so good people say stupid things. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. That doesn't mean that I dislike every person who is mentally handicapped or mentally challenged. Right. It's just the vernacular that I grew up with.
Right.
And I would call my brothers that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, oh, that must be Alice. What are you talking about?
Is this your house phone calling? What is I feel like you're going to be like, let me call you back. Yeah. So
yeah. It's Coach Papa, as if he doesn't know we don't have a show right now. Anyway, so it's interesting, right? So people have the right to say that. If I don't like a TV show or a radio show, I don't listen to it. I turn the channel.
Right.
That's what America has forgotten to do is how do we turn the channel? How do I turn that off? Right? And what happened to that? What happened to that police officer? Did somebody come up and pop a cap in him?
Nope.
Nothing. Right? Where is it at legally? No further questions, John.
Yeah.
All right, Jessica.
No
But we
charge.
know we are fed the bad and have to dig for the good. We know this is our part, as always. Don't believe the highlights and focus of the good rather than the bad. We have to dip for it and keep sharing the good. Yeah, you're right.
Because when I dip, you dip, we dip.
That's right. I don't think he was speaking directly to or directly at black people for looting. I don't care what color you are. You break in and try to loot around my house, definitely getting double tapped. Now, nowhere did you say a color?
I do. And I will on this one. Black people. Because who was getting blamed for looting?
Yeah, well, it was BLM. Right.
Right.
It was that movement.
It was consistently said that Black Lives Matter, and it wasn't White Lives Matter that did it. It was Black Lives Matter. Even though on the footage it wasn't black people.
Boy, there was a lot of whiteys there.
It was a heck of a lot of white people starting fires and looting for a black,
throwing things through windows,
and no one's questioning the person who threw the brick through the window. Anyway. A lot of that going on for Black Lives Matter. I told you, I joked about this in the green room. I would have loved to push somebody and be like, KKK! And just to see if it applies still. I don't think it would have gone over that way. But anyway, so we know who was getting blamed for the looting, bro. Like, let's just be honest. So when you say that and people are arming themselves for whoever the looters are, as soon as there's this black person who walks up, that's what they're going to target, G. You know that.
Yeah, God bless her for putting up with me this long. Yeah, I mean, you can't imagine how many double wides have 80-inch screen TVs now that they picked up from the Target during that time.
Man.
Anywho.
I'd swear it's like, what are they still? The K-cups and the hummus. It was the weirdest looting. These black people. Are you sure it was black people? Yeah. All the pumpkin spice was gone. Deshaun's taste has changed.
Amazing. If you don't like what's being said, turn the channel. Good one. Stop intentionally making yourself insane. I choose ignorance. Thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. Jess is and Derek talked a little bit about it on his show last night too. Is what are you being fed, man? Right. It's crazy. We were talking about the subway shooter in New York and in how he, the gruesomeness, but what the story was before they even caught the guy was tear gas, automatic guns, ghost guns. They just started making up stories. And the story that Derek talked about was, Anchorman 2. Where they're chasing the guy. Oh my God, he's a murderer. He's this, he's that. He's, Ron Burgundy's just making up a story. Stay on it. And they pull the guy over and he had a lapsed driver's license. Yeah. But the buildup was this big story to get listeners, to get eyes, and that's what we've come to. Right. News now is a business. It's not about reporting the news. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Go back to the 60s and take a good look at a guy named Walter Cronkite. Ooh. Not eye candy. Not eye candy. Not a handsome man.
Not a handsome man.
Right? And he was the one who delivered the news.
I think the politically correct term is visually unfortunate.
Visually unfortunate. Now look at any news station. You have models. Right?
Right.
Perfect skin, perfect hair, perfect teeth, whether it's male or female.
Right.
In journalism, it's like, can you read the teleprompter? I certainly can.
I would hate sitting there
right?
like that.
So it's become a business. Yeah, 60 Minutes, right? It's become a business. And when the news has become a business, then that's what you have to. They're after the dollar, man. Right. They're after the dollar, right? Exactly why I haven't watched the news in years. If not news people need to know, it's news they want you to believe. Yeah, that's what they push, right? What do we have here? He was the most trusted man in America, Walter Cronkite. But he delivered.
A news reporter?
Yeah.
Just I'm saying, like right now, I would never.
Ain't nobody on TV I trust.
I trust. Man, this is.
But here in the Chicagoland area, everybody loves the weather guy.
I think that's the easiest job to have in Chicago. Weather tomorrow is going to be somewhere between
Tom Skilling's his name.
Between 37 degrees and 82. Wear a snorkel, shorts, umbrella, and a winter coat.
Yeah.
Have it in your car for Chicago's weather tomorrow. The widest range that you can just guess and be accurate about.
But even also know about him across the pond. Yeah, over there in Singapore, right?
I read that Jamaican, even though he's
in
Singapore.
I don't know.
Bip pond, yeah.
Yeah, his broadcasts about the Vietnam War changed the way the war was. You're right. It did. I mean, it was amazing. But that's when we were delivering news,
right?
That's when we believe we were delivering news. Anyway,
yeah, because a lot of things. Yeah.
Anywho, So the undertones. Now there are undertones, and listen to what I say. Go to a bowling alley. Listen to the undertones there. What do I hear?
Drilling?
Yeah, what do I hear? I don't know what I hear. Anyway,
it's McHenry.
Yeah. And listen to the undertones you have with friends. Listen to the table next to you, to the undertones they have, right? What's he say? He wrote a book here. Thanks, Nate. Something actually happened at the bank I work for the other day. Oh, you're back in banking. Good. A guy came in and cashed a larger check than normal, and the banker wanted to report it and thought it was suspicious activities. I called her out for it. Basically, she assumed that because he was different skin color, it would hard to make her realize she was wrong. But my boss got me lunch for speaking up about it. That's some of the undertones that we're talking about. All right. And we've talked about it on this show about a month or so ago, right? Mm-hmm. Is you see Jimmy cruising in the Porsche, and he's 22 years old, and you're like, oh, does Daddy know you took the Porsche out there, Jimmy? Right. And you see Antoine rolling in a Porsche at 22, and you're like, oh, must be selling drugs.
Business is good.
Business is good, right? Not that his dad busted his ass and got him a Porsche, right? The same thing. So yeah, the undertones are there. But I think the good news is, as I sit here today, I think the good news is more people are catching it.
Yeah.
Like JJ Redick. More people are
calling it out like Nate did.
Are calling it out like Nate did.
And we've had this conversation that people feel like there's the N-word, right? People feel like Norwegian, yeah. In case you were wondering. Because they didn't say the word, that they didn't say the word. But you can say other words that mean the same thing. You can say other words that indicate how you feel about a group of people, about a person specifically, about what you assume about their behavior or extracurricular activities. You don't have to say the N-word to say similar contexts and similar ways of thinking. And people will try to say everything, beat around the bush and say everything but. And be like, well, I didn't say that. And you can tell. Mm-hmm. If everything that I joke about is about bald white guys, I'm like, listen, I've never said that I don't like bald white guys, but you said, this, and you've said that, and you've said it consistently for years. Phil, do you have a problem? What people will try to assume is because
the glare is horrible.
That was impressive. You actually added to the lighting,
right? The camera had to adjust. No, you're right, and I think that, and here's what I'm saying is we forget that athletes are entertainers. Right. They're being paid to entertain us, right? Right. Shut up and make me a clown.
Make me a clown, funny man.
right. They're there to entertain us. They get paid. Now, understand, they get paid great money. Okay, comedians. We'll take Dave Chappelle, our good friend Dave Chappelle. Dave spends hours writing. Right. Hours trying it out. Hey, this, that, the third, and he's brilliant at it. One of the best, right? If possibly the best, right? And we're just going to lay it out there.
Goat.
And but we'll pay a couple $100 to go watch him in person.
All right.
Get tackled on the screen. Anyway,
Man.
Anyway, it was funny. Good thing the guy was clumsy.
Did you see the guy afterwards though? He was like this.
Chris Rock was there. Did you?
Yeah. What was that? Will Smith? Chris.
That's too good. All right. So these athletes work endless hours at being delivering the best entertainment for you as they possibly can.
Right.
If you wanted them to just play, you know how terrible the league would be. It wouldn't make money.
Right.
But because they are professionally put in hours and hours and hours to master their craft, so that when they step on the floor for that 48 minutes, you are having a great time with your family.
Right.
So if they're entertainers, they also have the right to what? Speak their mind. We allow movie stars to do it. We allow TV stars to do it. But by gosh, you know what? Athletes just need to just play their sport. Right? You know what? You know what? I'm okay if you speak your mind if it's about some sort of medicine you take.
Right.
Because Phil's got to take anxiety medicine, which causes dry mouth, diarrhea, thoughts of, and if you're allergic to it, you'll die. But good for you, Phil.
The side effects on those medicines,
right? Right. The sounds. This sounds. Yeah, we talked about the grass is always greener, and you're always comparing your grass to somebody else's. Does the next generation see this or feel this? I think there's hope. So, are you asking your kids' age? Are you asking 20-year-olds? Are you asking, help us out there? Oh, and by the way, coming up here in a couple weeks, we got to get Bill Freeman on.
Okay.
He just sent me a text, a video.
With Smokey Robinson.
That's
impressive. Holding the book up.
Oh my gosh!
He wanted to know the stories.
As long as the check is legal, it's nobody's business how. Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely right. I got hurt when people call me Ginger. You get hurt when people call you Ginger.
And then,
try not to wear the sequin dresses. Oh, wrong Ginger. Sorry, I was thinking Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Look, Tim. Hey, Tim, thanks for the call, but we're on the air. How about old white guys who identify as bald guy? Yeah. And listen, starting on the 16th, you're gonna catch 2 bald guys in a microphone Monday mornings at 6. Going back to our original time slot, it's gonna be fun. Start your week off right.
I love it when you call me Coach Papa.
That's right. Now, the deal is. Why has America said, I don't care. I truly don't care, Phil, what you think. I just want you to play basketball.
We've had this conversation. America does not want to hear intellectual black people at all, at a high level, with influence, that they can't paint into that same picture.
Okay, but they're okay with John Stockton.
Yeah.
Or Steve Kerr or Bill Laimbeer. They're okay with them standing up and saying,
doing or saying, like dude from Detroit, we talked about him earlier, Laimbeer.
Yeah, Bill Laimbeer.
He would never be referred to as a thug.
No, never was. He's just part of the bad boys.
He
was a member,
and it sold tickets.
Yeah,
and it was good to be a bad boy.
Yeah,
but if someone else says that, he's a thug.
Yeah.
Same concept, same style of play.
Yeah.
They don't like, we talked about this in the green room. Draymond Green is Charles Barkley.
Yeah, truly is.
And if I'm Draymond and who I watch Charles Barkley, like, hey, having what I do on the court and then having how I present myself and a little rough around the edges allowed me to be a sports announcer even when I was working on myself and have a career and then all these endorsements, then why not go that path? Why not set myself up for life outside of when the ball stops bouncing?
Yeah.
Well, then you're making business decisions. You're taking care outside of just basketball.
Yeah.
No, we don't like that. You're bringing awareness to stuff that we was able to say, hey, this doesn't happen until people start either speaking out or recording it.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has to rely on body cams.
Yeah. And now I will say that in my world, in my world, I can't speak for the whole world. I can only speak for my world. In my world, I find it refreshing when there is a minority, somebody other than a white who's brilliant in speaking. I want to hear that, right? I marvel at that. My absolute idol in life, Magic Johnson. I wanted to be Magic Johnson. I wanted to play like Magic. I was 5'10", he was 6'10", so they didn't tell me that. And he has, he struggled, and he ended up getting his degree, after several years in the NBA, but now owns several businesses. He's a keynote speaker. He gives back. I mean, he creates Starbucks and movie theaters in rundown neighborhoods to give people jobs, to bring them life, not to be gentrified, but to do this, right? And a lot of people hate him. He was at the game without masks on with the, get over it.
You were at the rally without a mask on, so shut up.
Right. So I take a look at this, and I think it's refreshing. Now, do I agree with? And I'm going to pick on LeBron, and LeBron, thanks for tuning in. I'll pick on LeBron a little bit. Do I agree with his political stance on everything, or his stance on everything? And the answer is no. But do I get upset that he does it? And the answer is no. He's got the right to do that just as much as anybody else. But I will say I watch some of the shows that he's executive producer and that his production company create. And I always sit there and marvel and go, this kid's brilliant. You're brilliant, right? He's a smart guy. High school educated, smart guy. I don't know if he's gotten his degree. He may have. I have no idea.
I haven't seen that part yet. No.
But anyway, right? He went right into the NBA out of high school. But he's done brilliant things. Now, I don't like him because he's going to end up probably being the all-time leading scorer and take that from Kareem, which I don't like that. But in his goal, he wants to play in the NBA with Bronny. Well, I don't. It's his it's his eldest son. But at the same time, I sit here and go, I don't know if Bronny's good enough to play in the NBA, but he's got the name, and if Dad wants him, some team's going to team him up and put them together. Right?
He's
going to sell tickets. And he'll hang on, and LeBron can score. I mean, this year he averaged 28 or 30 points or something. I mean, without even thinking about it, right? So I get upset because I will always say that Kareem is the greatest of all time. Right, he is the GOAT, and that's from A to B. That's not in the NBA. That's total work of body, right?
Man, high school, college,
or body of work, or whatever. Yeah,
he was impressive.
So anywho, I find it refreshing, and I'm okay with that. But I'm also the person, maybe because of the business that I own and what I do, that go ahead, I'll give you a mic. I don't have to like what you say. If it gets listenership and brings in sponsor money, guess what? Come on in. The only line we don't talk about here is politics. That's it.
But okay, so this is, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, but LeBron could say what LeBron wants to say, right?
Yep.
And to the best of my knowledge, LeBron's not in a position to impose a law that's going to go with his personal opinion. So LeBron says something that you don't agree with or I don't agree with. He's not going to really be able to put anything into motion to get it to be legalized based off his belief. But when we see people who are in power, who do have that authority, saying just as skewed, viewed, or hateful or potentially violent things, it's downplayed. So it's serious if LeBron says it, but this dude who sits on this or in this political party who could do this and get it in motion, he can say more hurtful, more hateful, more rage-inspiring things. This should be the focus. This is going to get downplayed. But this dude can push a button and then stuff gets real.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
It's tough.
I don't understand that at all.
Well, where's the same passion, right? I mean, where's the same uproar?
Because it was always down. But you're taking his tweets out of context. No, this is inserting violence. That's why people are upset and outside right now.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say
the guy still takes up a lot of rent in people's heads. I don't get that either.
But like, I'm not even just saying, the Loompa. I'm saying like there's lots of people in politics who can say stuff. And I'm like, you're the governor of, or you're the
mayor of, or
the mayor of, the representation for a Democrat or Republican or whatever. And you're saying,
And it's okay.
That's unsettling.
We've accepted that.
That's
Alex says, do you find it funny when white people are talking about how they are going to be the minority in 15 years and they want to get the same rights as other minorities? Literally had the conversation with someone in McHenry before I left.
Not my words, but someone said that's why the current case that's going on, the Roe v. Wade stuff, is because the fear of white people no longer being majority and being the minority, and they don't want that. So they're trying to do laws. That was not my word, but someone was kind of pointing out that might be a possibility. But I do find that ironic that all of a sudden the fear when it's going to be everyone in the same boat.
So, yeah, and with that whole issue, people who are getting enraged about that haven't taken time to read and study the issue and what they're trying to do with Roe v. Wade.
Right.
It's not. They're basically just going to throw it back to the states and say, you guys figure it out. It's no longer a national thing, right? So it is what it is. Anyway, read more into it. Remember the malice at the Palace. I guess basketball players are just thugs when White Pepper throws alcohol and shit to them.
Yeah. Or when Russell Westbrook went in the stands and dude was like, everyone around was like, no, he called Russ the N-word like 7 times.
Yeah.
And Russ had even pointed out to someone and they did nothing about it. So now that Russ is here, Russ is the thug.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that was crazy. That was
But I mean, how many baseball players talk about when they played what's the Green Garden in Boston? I guess if you're a minority, that's like the worst place to play.
Yeah, the Boston Garden was,
and it's
brutal.
Cool. It's cool for people to be allowed to say, not like, talk trash. Like when we played Crystal Lake Central, they're like, "Well, Wallace, you suck." That's just fine. When you're doing racial slurs, if a player says anything back to the fan or whatever, then that player is a thug. Not, we don't have any control over the racial hatred that we're willing to spew over my team's different than your team.
Listen, and I'm going to go back to what Jeff said earlier too, is what you put out as vibrations into the world is what you want to buy a yellow Camaro. Once you get that yellow Camaro, you see yellow Camaros everywhere.
Right.
Like, damn, I went yellow because nobody has yellow. I see yellow everywhere now.
Right.
Right. So you whatever vibrations you put out, that's what you're going to get back. If you are looking for every reason to cause blame or throw shade, you're going to be able to find it.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to, your mind will twist things and it'll throw it out there. If you throw the vibes out there to go, I want to find the good in that person.
You can find that too.
You will find that, right? I want to find, I don't want to get tied into all this hate and anger. Right? You've tuned into 21-6 and Net. This is where you get your daily dose of encouragement.
Right.
Right? We'll walk the line on a lot of things, especially this show. Okay. But we're not throwing agendas at you. Right? And what we want to have these conversations, but whatever your vibration is, that's what you're going to get back. Right? It's going to come back to you. And that you have to understand that the success that people have are because they don't get tangled up with the negative vibrations. Are there negative all the time?
Right.
You see stores get robbed, looted. Guess what? Those people are back and selling stuff, right? But at the same time, I'll get mad that, somebody looted your store. I'm now buying from Amazon. I'm not going to come back.
Right.
Even though you busted your butt, got your store back and running, I'm not going to go to Phil's shoe store. Sorry, bro. And these are people who are close to you. This is your family.
Thank you for those who do support the store, though.
Right.
Support overdue.
Nate says, funny question happened with myself and my friend that is black. Your friend is black. Okay. Mm-hmm. Someone he was talking to asked him if he gets sunburned. I just died laughing and said, obviously, but couldn't stop laughing because I spit my drink out. It was so funny.
There's people who do.
Yeah.
I don't. I know friends. Yeah. I learned that people will get sunburned from snow, and I didn't understand that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I've lived amongst the whites for many years. This is the first year that I learned that one.
So when you look at the bad, you'll find the bad. When you look for the good, you'll find the good. It's very simple. It's just not easy. Happy Friday. Keep sharing the good news. Thank you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hey, Bree. What's Bree say?
Coach.
A lot of states are going along with the Supreme Court, though. So even though not all states are, it's healthcare that isn't accessible to people who can't hop on a plane or car to get to the healthcare they need, and that doesn't mean there won't be abortion. It's more likely that unsafe ones. It's bigger. Yeah, no, it is. But again, I would say this is it's sleight of hand. It's a distraction to what is really. They're wanting to keep you from something, and now, as I said, I think more people are saying, "Wait, you're my brother." Oh, I've got to learn, right? I've got to be more tolerant. I've got to accept. And because now there's not so much push and pull
Right.
in that area, we have to create a different push and pull. The only time you ever hear Roe v. Wade is during elections or if you live in Texas.
Right.
Right.
Both. Yeah.
Right. And the bottom line is that it usually is just a distraction. Right. So can you help me understand why all the black on black shootings are hidden from us from the media?
Dude, you wait till the last 2 minutes for this one?
Well, he probably just got in. Right?
One, I wish that I saw a media that didn't have a lot of black on black. But two, I guess you don't have to have it on the media as openly if you perpetuate and push it everywhere else, right? If it's just blacks are the thugs, blacks are the criminals, if you got to pick a bad guy for a movie, who are you going to pick? You got to pick a thug for a movie. Who are you going to pick? You got to pick a drug dealer for a movie. Who are you going to pick? So it doesn't necessarily have to be on the media. It's literally everywhere else, right? We talked about this as athletes. One dude who's white from Detroit can push you down. He's just the good bad boy. Well, Draymond does it. He's a thug.
No,
so it's everywhere else.
Well, here is what I think. I'm going to put words in Derek's mouth. Is we talked about adjusting your sights last night on his show, not the iron sights. Right. People want you to do things for one reason. I think that it's out there, but we've grown accustomed to it and said, yep, gang on gang, whatever, thugs, right? And we've gotten so accustomed to it now. Growing up in Iowa, hog farmers don't know that they smell like hog shit all the time, nor do they know that their house smells like hog shit all the time. Okay, when you're in it all the time, right, you don't smell that. Well, you don't smell your own nasty breath, right?
I'll say this. How much footage do you remember of the Gillespie case? Because if we're really going to compare crime, child abductions and trafficking is much higher than black on black crime. And for whatever reason, I see nothing about what's going on in that community. And if you ask people who's the higher ups, the people that I saw on the Epstein show, most of them didn't look like me. But we'll hide what people are doing to children at a very high level, and we know about it. So I think that would be a bigger issue than just the black on black crime being hidden.
Alex is silly. The only people I don't trust are people with two first names. Just don't trust them. And people to dress up as Furbies. Everyone else is case by case basis. The problem in my case by case basis is different than theirs. But as soon as you don't like someone, you do try to influence people in your tribe to think the way you do. We all do it because we all want to be validated. There's a lot of truth to that. We got. I can smell my own breath after some Coronas. Smells like lime. Well, if that's what you think a lime smells like, the south end of a northbound lime. Anyway, I don't know about it and agree 100%. They hit a lot from us. Media has its agenda. Right.
It would take 10 Chicagos to keep pace.
Yeah.
For perspective purposes.
Now, we can get all of the statistics we want depending on where you look and what your source is. They're going to vary, right?
Right.
And if I'm wanting to prove the point that there's more black on black crime than there is white on black crime, or black on white, or white on white, I will be able to find that someplace. I will find an article or something that was out there and go, ha,
Fox News,
right here, take a look, right? So it is. Listen, it's what you're after. I mean, listen, you don't think so? It's what you're after. Well, just start talking about Jeep Cherokees. You bring it up 4 or 5 times, 6 times in a day. Guess what's going to start showing up on your social media feed? Jeep Cherokees. Right? It's out there. The whole system is designed to give you what you want.
Right.
Period.
I feel like you'll find black people lead if you only search murder and shootings. If you search crime as a whole, contrary to popular belief, crime is not just shooting and murder.
No.
But that's the image that's depicted because we get the gold medals on that one. But if you check the crime Olympics, it's not us.
Yeah.
As a history major, we're not leading in body counts.
So,
but more importantly, recently, the things that happen with children should be more important than just the black on black crime. And that number is significantly higher than people who were killed in Compton or Chicago. Or
and
Miami
Will Smith's slap got more coverage than the Ghislaine Maxwell case.
Right. Why is coverage?
That? Anywho, big black book.
Because
a lot of names out there.
Corporate executives don't want to be told. And corporate executives don't look like me.
Listen, come back at 1 for the Neighborhood Pulse with Kevin Callback, Eddie Martinez. Come back at 3 for our good friends in the know with Steph and Joe. Come back at 8 p.m. To hang out with Derek, Mike, and Keith and Vic, the Dream Home Experts, tonight at 8. For all of us here at 21.6 The Net, thanks for getting caught in the net, hanging out on the bridge. And remember, what you look for is essentially what you'll find.
Right. Without positive undertones. Love you guys.